Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm going to be working on another Bible journaling process using the 2020 Vision Kit from Illustrated Faith. So I do have an unboxing of the kit as well as another process video I will link down below for you guys. Now the physical kit is completely sold out, but you still have the digital option for the notebook and the ephemera pieces, and they may have some of the acetate pieces, the physical acetate pieces in the shop still, because they did list some of the physical kit items in the shop. So I will try to link whatever I have down below, but you can at least still get the devotional content digitally from the Print and Pray shop and can still jump in and work alongside us. So I'm working on the second session, which is Heart Vision, and I'm going to be journaling here in Proverbs 4:23, talking about guarding our heart. And I did some study to really fully understand what this means and what this is saying, and I found a great resource at gotquestions.org. I will link it down below. The writer, in response to that, kind of compared illnesses of the heart to illnesses of our spiritual heart. So like coronary artery disease and blocking it and having a blockage of allowing the word into our heart and just things like that. And it really kind of cleared up my understanding of this verse. So I will link that down below so you can take a look at that if you too are maybe hitting a block with this one. I don't know, I just kind of came to this, and I think I've just seen so many beautiful entries done for this kit so far that I felt a little intimidated going into it, and I had to set that aside, focus on the scripture, and then jump in and just pull something together and let it be mine, and that's okay. So what I've done off camera is I've prepped just a few things. I've pulled out like this prescription card that comes in the physical kit and typed out a prayer onto it. I have these are the cards that were released at Christmas time. I know they have the digital option. I'm not sure if they still have the physical option, so I'll link something down below, but I'm going to be using these. And I've pulled out my Joy Journey stamp set and stamped that big floral on a piece of vellum and just fussy cut it out. I need to sit down and do a whole bunch of these ahead of time because it's fun to just kind of tuck these in to clusters and behind things and have them on vellum and acetate and cardstock and, you know, different mediums like that. I do want to note that I have been searching all over for my number stencil from the Joy Journey kit. In fact, I just ordered another one that landed on my doorstep today, and then I sat down to film this and found it tucked in behind my stamp. So I'll probably be sticking that extra one in a giveaway very soon, so stay tuned for that. But I also pulled out the Heart Layers stamp set. This was from a previous devotional kit. I don't think that this is available any longer, but again, if anything is still available, I will link it down below. But I like this. He is our shield piece. I'm going to be die cutting a heart out of this card here. This is the card that came in the 2020 kit, and I'm just going to die cut a heart right out of that card. And then I have some stickers from a past kit. I have the stamp set from this month's kit, the diamond stencil, and then some Felicity Jane alphas. So I think this is kind of what I'm going to mix and match and put together some semblance of a cluster on this page. Honestly, I usually have a little bit more of an idea of what I'm going to do before I sit down, so you're just going to get to see me test things out, try things out, play with things, and figure out what we're going to do here. So let me go ahead and put you guys on fast forward, and we will put together today's layout.
Okay, off camera I went ahead and die cut a heart out of that card there, and then now I can go ahead and start kind of assembling my cluster here. I am going to take the shield stamp from that Heart Layers stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it on one of these little mini cards. I did check the shop. These cards are still available in the shop, so they're linked down below for you guys. And this is just a fun way to jazz up your die cut pieces if you're going to stamp and cut out. If you stamp it on a pattern paper, if it's a pretty muted pattern, it just adds a little bit of interest to that die cut piece. And this particular one had these little like greenish yellow dots on it, which is the same color as the greenish yellow that's in the kit this month. And so it was just another way to pull in that color for me. For this heart, I had a lot of cream and white on this page, so I needed the heart to kind of stand out. So I pulled out this Picked Raspberry Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just running it along the edges of the heart die cut piece. That's going to bring a pop of that pink, but also help the heart kind of stand out from the background. Since we're talking about guarding our heart, I definitely wanted a big, bold heart image on here, and I wasn't quite sure how I would use that big journaling card. I don't know, I didn't have plans for it, and so I decided to go ahead and just cut into it and create this heart, and it worked perfectly for that. So before I stick everything down, I am going to add a few of these little diamond shapes using the stencil. You could use, inks and paints and things like that through the stencil, but I'm just keeping it easy and going in with a pen. And I want, what I'm looking at as I'm going into this is I have kind of a diagonal shape from the top left-hand corner of the page to the bottom right-hand corner. I want everything to kind of flow together. So these diamonds are going to help connect my main cluster with the florals to this little card cluster that's going to be in the bottom right-hand corner. And that way everything looks like it goes together and kind of flows and helps your eye kind of move around the page, if that makes sense. This is all just kind of design elements to this, not necessary. You do not have to do it in this order or, this way, but this is what's going to help those clusters just look like they're meant to be on the page. I did stamp this large floral from the Joy Journey stamp set on some vellum. That way I could still see any Bible text that might get covered up by it. And it just added a fun texture. Since there's so much paper on here with all the different die cut pieces, I didn't want to use cardstock. I wanted to use some other texture. So the vellum worked for that. And now I can start kind of adhering things down. For that prescription card, I adhered it to a larger piece of paper and then ran it through my typewriter and just typed out my journaled prayer there. And now I'm going to work on my title. So I initially had these Lindsey alphas from Felicity Jane picked out. They're the ones, the big bold ones on the bottom, that I was going to mix with these smaller alphas, but they were too big. So I had to scrap that and pulled out, and I think this kind of worked better. I pulled out a variety of mint and blue alphas from my stash to spell out heart. So this will say guard my heart. And I like how it came out a little bit better. I liked that it was, all wonky with the different alphas, and as I was digging through, I kept trying to reach for stickers or reach for different things, and at first I was kind of bummed that we didn't have stickers and things in the kit this month, but this fully forced me to get into my stash and pull out some product that I hadn't used in a while, get rid of some alpha stickers, those kind of things that I wouldn't have used up if they had been in the kit this month. And so I like that, this kit had some foundation pieces, and then you could go through your stash and pull out a variety of products to kind of build off of the paper pieces and the acetate pieces and the things that were in the kit this month, if that makes sense. So I did outline the alphas just to kind of help them stand out off the background. I'm really liking how that cluster is coming together. So I'm going to work on this bottom little cluster, pulling out the stamp set. I'm going to stamp the word vision again in that picked raspberry color to bring a little bit of pink down in the corner here. And I'm going to create a little banner like I did on my last entry using the smaller banner piece. So it'll say Heart Vision. That way I know it'll go along with this part of the devotional. So you can stamp the little rectangle, and then there's these little banner tails. Instead of switching and doing, one on one side and one on the other, I just use the same banner tail and just flip it over, and it works just fine. And then in the inside there, that word heart fits perfectly. And I stamped out a few more pieces from that Joy Journey stamp set and on some vellum and fussy cut them out. And again, trying to bring in some of the elements that are in that top cluster into the bottom cluster. That way they look like they are meant to go together. So bringing a little bit more vellum down there, that same little, floral branches down there. And that way it all kind of looks cohesive. So now I can stick that down and cut off the excess off the bottom there. And then I was kind of looking through my stamps and things. I was bothered by the blank spot that's on the journaling card. And so I thought about stamping out a couple of these hearts, but I just couldn't get them to flow with what I already had on the page. So I scrapped that idea. I did grab this little camera from the stamp set and stamped that in some broken china distress oxide ink, again, to bring a little bit more blue down here. And it was just a fun icon that I hadn't used in the stamp set yet. So I figured, why not throw it on there, and it'll bring in a little bit of color down at the bottom as well. So as one little finishing touch here, I'm going to add some black watercolor splatters, and that again is just going to further cement that diagonal shape that I'm creating on the page. I'm going to outline my verse. That's Proverbs 4:23. And then top it off with this big fluffy bow that I created with some fabric in my stash. And that is gonna be it for the entry today. So all the links to everything are in the description box down below. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out that gotquestions.org site for that information about this verse if you're curious about that. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.